Vassal, and welcome to Week in Review. This is where we go over all the different videos we put out over the past week, and we tell you what we think about the different games and various things. And then if you want to see the full video, you just click a link in the description below. Here we go.
Hey everybody, I'm Zee Garcia. Here's what I did last week. So I did 3 abstract reviews, starting off with Himiki, which I gave a 4 out of 10 to. This is a rock, paper, scissors style game in which you're tipping over these blocks, and if water touches fire, it puts it out, and wood floats on water, and some other stuff. It's not very good. We reviewed Canosa, which I gave a 6 out of 10 to. This one's kind of interesting. It's got this cool theme in which you are sirens pulling the sailors, shipwrecked sailors, over to your side of the board. It's got some interesting stuff going on, some influence ideas in it, but the game ultimately is a little flat for me. And then the last one was Taffel King, which I gave an 8 out of 10 to, and this is a very interesting game, asymmetric game with one side protecting the king, the other side trying to take out the king. And it's actually an ancient game. It's from the year 400 or something, an old Viking game. Very cool, very interesting. Then I reviewed Vampire Village, which I gave a 6 out of 10 to. It's a drafting game. It has some of the same DNA that Galaxy Trucker does. So you build up and gather your people and fortify your defenses, and then everything you build gets trashed and you feel like crap. And then you do it again a second time. Saving grace here is the game's about 20 minutes, 15 minutes, very short. And so that's all right if I want to play something that, I'm not going to feel great while I'm playing, and you're just sort of trying to, kind of hoping for the best, trying to strategize, not really a lot you can do. But the game is a looker. It plays quickly, and so I don't hate it. I just didn't love it. And then lastly, let's go to Japan, which I gave an 8 out of 10 to. This is a really nice drafting game. Gorgeous, well-produced, interesting set collection going on in it, and many of the ideas here are quite clever and well implemented. The idea of set collection, the idea of scoring your entire trip at the end when you're done collecting it all, having to jump and take a train from Kyoto to Tokyo and back and forth, and being careful not to make yourself do that too many times. Really neat stuff in this package. Very well finalized and well put together. So I definitely recommend this one. And that's it for me. See you on the next one.
We now return from this commercial break to bring you Chris Time. Hey everybody, this week I took a look at several games. We did a pile of games, Wendy and I. We did a pile of Istanbul. I also did a 21 reviews in 10 minutes where all of the ratings ranked from a 3 to an 8. So go check that out for a wide swath of reviews, of course. But the main reviews, Gloomhaven, Buttons, and Bugs, I gave a 7. I thought this was a nice series of solitaire puzzles. A little luckier than I would have preferred, but an impressive amount of content and more fun to play through different characters rather than necessarily play the whole story through. So a 7, still very good. Dark Tower Covenant, I gave an 8. This is the second expansion to Return to Dark Tower. I guess it's called Return to Dark Tower Covenant. It adds a lot of bad stuff. It adds a lot of good stuff. My favorite part are the 4 new characters, which I did confirm. We spoke wrong that those characters can be played even without playing any of the expansion stuff. So I recommend it for that alone, but the other stuff there is cool as well. And then lastly, Orange Shall Overcome, I gave a 9. One of the most just rich, very historical game about the Dutch resistance, World War II. I find it phenomenal, very emotional. This is one of the few times I would say a game was important. I think it has a great emotional investment in it, a great historical value. So very happy with this one. A 9 for Dutch Resistance, Orange Shall Overcome. And that has been my week.
Week in review. This week I took a look at Blight of the Neverset. This is the new expansion for the Red Rains for Ashes, which is the way you play cooperatively. I'm really enjoying these sets. I gave this a 9. I just really enjoy the new Phoenixborn. Is one of my favorite faction types or dice types, the charm dice. I really enjoy that. That was the first type of dice I used when I played the game. So I really enjoy that it comes with a pre-built charm dice set, and then also playing against the gigantic plant thing feels very different. There's all these things where it's kind of like wounding and attacking your guy with thorns so you're bleeding out, and all these things that have these seeds that are going to grow and make the guy ultimate even more. It just has interesting ways to play the game, and I'm just loving Ash's Red Rains. Being able to play the game solo is a blast, so 9 for me. And then also I took a look with the rest of the group for Let's Go to Japan. This game is not normally the kind of game I'd be into. It's very mechanical and Euro-y, but the theme really comes through for me because it feels like you're planning out your trip to Japan, picking which things you're going to do on which days. I really enjoy that. And the fact that, like, first you plan out the whole trip. You try to go to get sushi on Thursday, you try to go see the sakura trees on Monday. You're going to go check out some of the temples on Tuesday and trying to set that stuff up and trying to combo those cards together is a lot of fun. And I really enjoy drafting. Simultaneous play is always a big thing for me. So I gave this one an 8.5. Anyway, that's what I took a look at this week.
Hi, I'm Wendy Yee, and I have one game for you and a pile of Istanbul. So go check out that pile of Istanbul video I made with Chris. That one's pretty cool. But the actual game that I reviewed this week is Return to Dark Tower, the Covenant's expansion. And so what this does is this adds in some cool new player powers. You've got awesome stuff like that. You've got new buildings that you can actually put out and work towards. You don't get at the beginning, but you have to work towards later. There's some doom skulls that come out that can never be removed from the game. So they're like permanent doom that sits out on the board, as well as some interesting tiles that you have to work through. So they're wasteland tiles that come out. They sit and they basically change a region from being like a desert region or whatever to a wasteland. And then suddenly your bonuses don't work. So there's some really cool things that make it harder, as well as things that make it easier, and some really cool player powers. Player powers are definitely the best. Anywho, with all of that, I forgot to say my score, so that is a 7.5. I thought it was a pretty good expansion, so it definitely gets an approval from me.
All right, this week I took a look at two games, both of which were drafting games. First up was Vampire Village, which I came in at a 6 on. This one did not really sing for me. It felt a little too mean. It made me feel like it was a take that game, but does not have that take that element in it necessarily. So you're going to be drafting cards, building up your village, placing villagers in it, maybe recruiting some heroes to move those villagers around. And then the second part, you're going to be drafting the bad things that'll happen. So you have werewolves and vampires and demons and something else I'm forgetting. Werewolves, that's it. And as you're drafting those, you keep one for yourself and give the other ones to the other players at the table. So you feel like you have a lot of control, but it just ends up being really chaotic, and it's just hurts too much to go through these 2 rounds of drafting to see your whole village wiped out. The saving grace for me is it's really quick. It's about 10 to 15 minutes. So if I do have somebody that really likes those take that, haha, I got you kind of games, I'd sit down and play with them, but I'm not quite going to recommend it. The second game I took a look at is Let's Go to Japan. I like this one quite a bit more. I came in at an 8 on Let's Go to Japan. It was, again, a drafting card game where you're drafting a card, trying to plan out your week through Japan that you're going out and visiting different locations. So you're going to draft a card and then pass the other cards to a person either on your left or your right. They're going to put that in a pile. Eventually that pile is what they're picking up to draft from. So it kind of changes not only the directions, but where you're drafting those cards from through the game. Feels like you have more control in that, but ultimately your decisions come down to you keep what is best for you, not necessarily trying to hose your neighbors. I really like that that you're building out this week that you're going to visit through Japan, and you're not scoring the game until the end when you actually go through and take your trip. I love going on trips, and I love planning trips probably just as much as actually going on the trip. I think that theme comes out more and more as you play this game. At first, it's very mechanism drafting focused, but eventually that does go away as you become comfortable with the game, and it's a really pleasant experience about traveling. So Let's Go to Japan is an 8 for me. Let's keep moving.
All right, for me, well, we did Catch-a-Palooza, where we played Epic Thunderstone Quest. This is Thunderstone Quest the epic style way. It was a catch-up for Zee, Camilla, and Chris gave that one a whirl. Me and Jimmy faced off in a live play of Super Trains. I don't normally push these real hard, but we had a lot of fun with this one. It's a great kids game. You definitely want to check that out. I did a boring unboxing. I reviewed Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs. I gave it an 8. I like it a lot. There's a lot of good things in it. It is still a small version of Gloomhaven, solo puzzle. It's fun. It's not aspiring to Gloomhaven, but I thought there was a lot of cool things in it. We did a look back from games from 1, 5, 10, and 20 years ago. Crowd surfing. We took a look at different projects on Kickstarter and BackerKit. I reviewed. We did a board game Smorgasbord, and then I took a look at Salton Sea. Unfortunately, this one I only gave a 5 to. Here's the thing. I think the game is really, really good. But the tightness of it and the stringent, always running out of money just made me not like it. So I had to give it a 5. I took a look at a website that takes a look at different board games of the year from various reviewers and kind of a little infograph video there. I thought that was a little bit of fun to look at. Zee and me reviewed 3 different abstract games, Taffel being the best of the lot there. And then I did a 5 to 8 short game review roundup. What does 5 to 8 mean? Well, because technically 5 different games, but there's 2 Mind Bugs and 3 of the story games. So kind of a, well, you'll see when you watch it. And then finally, we reviewed Let's Go to Japan. Really like this game, an 8 out of 10. Very enjoyable, easy to play, great components, just a lot of good stuff. I think this one's going to be one of the hits of this year. And there you go, folks. That's Week in Review. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.